everyone, and welcome on to One Hub Racing Season 25, round number 4, as we head to the streets of Baku for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We were here pretty much a few hours ago in the real life Grand Prix and in the P2 Grand Prix, so that is really great to see that we are replicating what we're seeing in real life as well, apart from the weather, of course, because it didn't rain at all. So, my name is Jess Ball, and joining me in the commentary box once again, it is Mike Edwards. Mike, how are you doing? And first sprint race of the season.
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic, Jess. Looking forward to this one, as you mentioned, first sprint race of the season. There is definitely going to be a little bit of chaos, I think, around the streets of Baku. Of course, that castle section being so infamous. If you just get the entry just a little bit wrong, race could be over just like that. And doing a sprint race as well as a feature race, there's a lot more opportunities for the drivers to lose it in that particular section.
Yeah, exactly. And it is a lot of different sprint race format this season. Of course, it will be one-shot qualifying to kick things off. Then we've got the sprint race, which it is using the adaptive weather system, the sprint race. One-shot qualifying is dry as normal to see how the pace is, basically. And then after that, we'll have a quick lobby restart. The top 10 will get reversed. And then, so basically, if you finish the race in P1, you start the race in 10th or 11th. And if you finish the race in 10th, you'll start the race from pole position. And everyone from P11 downwards will start the race basically where they finished in the sprint race. And if they got any grid penalties, it will be applied based on the main race. But nobody has taken their engine penalties in Baku. I'm surprised, because I thought there'll be loads of people taking it. But are you surprised that we've seen no engine penalties taken in P1 so far?
Yeah, just literally Baku is always one of those circuits where you kind of expect to see an engine penalty being taken just because of the nature of the track and how difficult it can be to not only just get to the checker flag, but also just in terms of just the consistency around this track. And it's always a good place to do some overtaking as well. So I thought we would have seen at least a handful of drivers selecting a driver, obviously the engine penalties now for this race for the drivers.
Yeah, because we saw a few take it in P2, and for majority of them it worked well. So yeah, I was very, very shocked. But we have got a little bit of a while before we head into the qualifying session. And I may as well talk you through the standings from last week. We were, of course, at Hungary last week. You got no music for the time being. And Matteo just missed out on the win due to his penalty, but he's still leading the way on 46 points to Tony in second place. And we got Atslot in third. Misconsistent himself. The penalties that everyone else got made him get up into P2. So a really strong showing from him. Callum in fourth place despite his 12th place last week. J. Cole won the race despite getting a 10-second penalty. Very impressive. One of my drivers of the day. Colin is in 6th place in the standings. Casper in 7th. Nick in 8th in the standings. And then we've got Ben in 9th. He's back tonight, which is great to see. And Lukey in 10th. And then Entity, Papa Squanch, Kajman, Waitsy, Barry, who's not here tonight, Leroy, that's not here tonight, in 15th and 16th. And we've got Larkin, Cam, Samster, and Konzo. Konzo still on -2 points. Then we'll go through the constructors. We actually managed to fix that. So the constructors are as follows. If it decides to load, thank you. You can't barely read it, so we do apologise. Hats are leading on 62 points. And we got Kick Sauber in second on 52, which is a 10-point gap. Very close between these two teams. I think those teams are the ones to watch for the constructors, I would say. Mercedes in third with 48 points, which are very strong drivers from Nick and Colin. McLaren in fourth on 36. Fifth is RB with 35. Sixth is Alpine on 31. Seventh is Williams on 28. Eighth is Aston Martin on 14. Then we got Red Bull in ninth on 5 points. And the only team out of all two tiers to get minus points is Ferrari on -2. So Matteo being the most consistent driver out of all the drivers on the grid, despite him not winning a race.
Yeah, but obviously, I mean, as we all know, sometimes it's better just to have the consistency over the course of the season than having just the raw pace of taking just the occasional race when it's your favorite track. What Matteo is showing is what I would call a championship drive where you just consistently keep getting the podiums, consistently up there, being consistent. That is what it's all about, and Matteo's 100% doing that right now.
Yeah, and it's shown in the F3 Championship in real life. You do not have to win a race in order to win the championship. It's all about that consistency, and that's something, of course, to keep an eye on here today. And speaking of consistency, both Tony and Matteo were called to the press office today in the rivalries, and they were asked, "You definitely been up there throughout the first 3 races. Do you see each other as genuine title contenders for this season? And when the going gets tough, will you guys be able to keep it clean?" Tony said, I definitely see Matteo as a title contender. We've been pretty much matched on pace every round. Austria, we both made mistakes. Monza, we both gave each other space and was more than respectable. Hungary, I decided to get invalidations on my lap. I expect the same sort of respect that we both had at Monza for this weekend's race. Clean, respectful, and made the best driver come out on top. Very respectful between those 2 drivers. I will see if Matteo was able to ask that question as well. Nope, he wasn't able to ask that question. But Tony, I've been watching his practice earlier on today. He's been looking quick. So is Matteo. So I have to say, those 2 could be the ones to watch here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're going to see just how respectful it is going to be, because, of course, battling around Baku is you are literally dicing with the wall every single time you go side by side around this circuit. I mean, the 90-degree corners is very easy to just get a little bit of a snap of the rear end, very easy to just understeer a little bit wide, and that's someone in the wall right there. The curbs can be quite lethal as well if you take them a little bit wrong, so we're going to see how respectful they're going to be with each other.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see those 2 fight because they're pretty much the favourites, not gonna lie, as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, the people were asked from the pre-race interviews about how confident are they of keeping the car out of the many, many walls and not copying Charles's famous castle moment. I am stupid, I would say. So Tony's very confident about that, and he knows his limits, and he's just got to be consistent. And we were talking about consistency earlier on, and he said he won't be pushing there, but in his aims to be consistent. Nick will drive within the limits come to Sunday, which is today, of course. That's not saying we'll just have to see how it goes. Main thing is to try not to overtake Galuki on the inside into turn 3. Yeah, I've seen that in practice. Casper's 99.9% confident that he's going to keep it out of the walls, and especially in the castle section this evening. Callum and I'm saying I am stupid, so I think the answer to that is probably no. Anyone else responded? No, no one else has responded. So majority of them are able to keep... Cam did. Oh, yeah, Cam. Yeah. Quite, he said. So, yeah, a mixture of opinion here tonight about if they're able to keep it and not do a I am stupid moment.
And honestly, just speaking for myself, I have done the I am stupid moment very, very regularly around this circuit. And honestly, it's something that every driver, I think, in their careers has at least done at least once or twice. I don't think you can drive around Baku and not do an I am stupid moment.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting indeed to see if we get any safety cars. We had, I think, 1 in the P2 tier earlier on today. So I wondered that's going to cause any problems in the P1 tier as well. I don't know who we're waiting for, but hopefully we should get underway very shortly. I'm just trying to see if I can read some driver questions. I think there's a driver's press conference. I don't see any driver's press. Oh yeah, Lukey was called to the driver's press conference this evening. So he was asked, how do you feel things have gone so far this season in comparison to what your targets were before we started? Do you feel the rest of the calendar will help you challenge more throughout? Oh, that was almost a bit confusing. Now I'm just seeing if he's responded to that. I don't think he has. So that was what his question would be. I would say that he did very well at the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. He was very unlucky with his mistakes, but he was able to gain quite a few positions. So I think his consistency could pay off here as we are about to get underway for one-shot quali, Mike.
Yep, one shot, one opportunity to put yourself in the best position for the sprint race, and then it is all about the consistency that you're going to have in the sprint race. And we're going to see who is going to have that consistency in just a few moments' time.
We can go through the stats around this circuit. 2 DRS zones, 20 corners, 12 to the left, 8 to the right, and it's situated 6.003 kilometers, 3.730 miles. Previous winners: Papa Squanch won in the P3 tier last season, ERT Samba won in this tier last season as well, and Ray Myth won in the P2 tier. This was a track designed by Herman Tilke and was at the time the fastest street circuit in the world. Of course, we know Jeddah is quite fast now as well. The narrowest part of the circuit, 7.6 meters wide at turn 8, barely wide enough for 2 cars to fit side by side, and you can find a medieval wall there as well, which looks quite nice. In real life, of course, a number of walls around the circuit have been realigned. Asphalt's being relayed in the pit X in turns 2 and 3 and turns 7 and 8, but they probably haven't relayed it there as well. As Matt in the chat has predicted, Samster F1 for driver of the day. Could be possible, but we'll have to wait and see. But one-shot quality, in my opinion, I don't prefer it because a lot of people tend to invalidate, but it is quite a high-pressure situation, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. When you've only got that one chance to set a good lap, it really does put you under a lot of pressure immediately. And obviously, comparing it with short qualifying, you get a nice little feel for the track in short qualifying where you can maybe mess up on your first lap and be happy with it, but here you cannot.
Here we go then. We are about to go on board. Let's go on board with one of our rivalries this week, Tony, as he makes his way towards turn number 1. A very tight entry through there as well. I think we can see a few people going wide now, heading towards turn number 2. Much like the first couple of corners, make sure you downshift into 3rd gear, and it's a very long DRS straight. Trial braking is very, very crucial, and expect the oversteer in the car as well, coming up through these very tight corners. Heading in towards turn this back straight. You're going to be heading towards the start of the second sector now. Turn 5, incredibly easy to miss your braking point. It's very flowing through there, and you need to move over to the left in preparation for this. Right-hander coming up on turns 7, very tight once more. This is where I had a bit of an off in one hub many moons ago, many seasons ago. I am stupid moment coming up next. Tony just about avoids that moment coming up, which there was almost a bit of runoff as well, but we can see quite a few invalidations coming up as well. We saw Mateo, one of our championship contenders, invalidate, which is not ideal. This is a very satisfying corner if you get it right through turn 15 and turn 16. A medium speed left-hander coming up in 4th gear, but a lot of people like myself take it in 3rd. Tony looks like he's a favourite at the moment, and you're going to flip the car to the right, keep your car to the left as possible, just about avoiding the wall, and this is where the DRS makes huge difference. Your exit is so important. So here he comes then. It looks like it's going to be pole for Speed Tony then, as he goes up to the line at 1:38.557, 3 tenths quicker than Callum and Arms and Lukey in 3rd, Ben in 4th. But a few invalidations, Mike.
Yeah, and while he was on board with Tony for the lap, I was on board with Mateo, and he did invalidate, but then he did the I am stupid moment into the castle section, which is how he did retire.
I think we jinxed Mateo there, didn't we? We must have jinxed Mateo. But we may as well go through the results for qualifying then. So, Tony will be starting the sprint from pole position. Callum unarmed in 2nd. Lukey in 3rd, Ben JS in 4th, Axelot in 5th, Nick in 6th, Entity 7th, Samster in 8th, Casper in 9th, Colin in 10th position. Then we have Konto in 11th, Larkin in 12th, J. Cole 13th, Cam 14th, Papa Squanch in 15th, Waitsy in 16th, and Mateo in 17th position. So that is your running order for the sprint race. Hopefully people remember what we said. I deafened myself there almost. Hopefully people remember what we said and they do not leave the session ready for the sprint race. And adaptive weather time now. It is going to start off wet and it's going to get dry. Now, depending on the formation lap and if we get any safety cars, in the P2 tier, it was not enough for it to be completely dry. I wonder if we're going to get the same here in the P1 tier since it's set to approximate, but luckily Lukey's remembered it to put the formation lap on because I didn't. So A, do you think we'll get safety cars? And B, do you think it'll be dry enough for slicks at the end?
I think in conditions like these, the bare minimum you're going to expect is at least a virtual safety car around a circuit like this. I think that's the bare minimum. We saw in qualifying, obviously, Matteo, putting it into the wall at the castle section. That's in the dry. In the wet, it's a whole different kettle of fish, and every single corner becomes a high-risk corner at that point.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, if you could just about survive in these conditions, then you'll be able to get some decent points into it. And the point system has changed in One Hub Racing for the sprint race because it was 12-1 at one point, but now it is the top 12. They get, I believe, I'm just trying to 6 points. So 6 points. I've done the sprint race point system wrong, so I will have to change that ever so slightly because I have done it wrong, but never mind. But we will need to check that at some point. So yeah, so at the moment it's first place gets 10 and it's 8.5, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.5, 2, and then obviously 12th place gets 0.5 points. So those are your point system, just for you to be aware of. Obviously it's covered in the sprint race tutorial video if you want to check that out. I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Mike. Who do you think's gonna win at the sprint race?
I think it's going to be... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go Callum and Arm, because around here DRS is so crucial, even though we're not going to have DRS due to the conditions out on track. But I think the slipstream is almost just as important as DRS is around this circuit, and he is going to have that slipstream being in behind Tony, and it's all going to be about timing it. So I'm going to go with Callum and Arm for the race win, for the sprint race win.
I'm going to go with Tony. Tony's been looking so quick in any conditions that he is pretty much going to potentially do very well. But let us know your predictions in the chat. Well, we usually go through the tyres at this point of the proceedings, but everyone is on the intermediate compound of tyres. And turn 1 is going to be absolute hell in these conditions. But with 17 drivers on board, anything can happen. I have to say, Ben had a good qualifying. So did Lukey, had a good qualifying. And Casper, what could have been for him? I think he could have been up there near the front. Jaco, I think could have been in top 10, but he struggled a little bit, and that just shows how difficult one-shot qualifying definitely is. Of course, a few other drivers have invalidated their run, so that's why they were lower down the order. Let's see if anyone in the chat has predicted. We've got a few first-time chats as well, so welcome to those of you that just joined the stream. Hopefully you're all doing well. And you can see Tony and Callum are pulling away from everyone. Be careful, lads, because everyone else is just starting to warm their tyres, and those two are going to be quite cold. It's not a race at the moment, so they just got to slow down a bit, because otherwise they're going to be waiting on the grid for a very long time, just like we saw with Charles Leclerc earlier on today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm wondering if this is a tactical from Tony and Callum here, just to kind of put a little bit of a pace on the formation lap, try and feel where the grip is early on, try and see what the braking zones are like early on. And it could be quite a smart move from the two of them. While everyone else is warming their tyres up, they're testing the braking zones.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing as it stands, just testing how much throttle I could put into one corner, how much throttle I do put into a corner. As for most people, most drivers will be running no assist, so the traction, I would say, around this circuit, probably one of the hardest on this game, but at least it gets the wet weather out of the way, at least for one of the combinations, because there's, I think, quite a lot of wet combinations, but once there's 4 done in the sprint/qualifying element, then the rest of the season would be dry. So we still got, I think, 2 more possible wet qualifyings this season, and then it will have to be dry. We haven't had any wet races yet, so I think we are due one at some point. But knowing us is going to be Singapore, I hope not, because otherwise we're going to be in a very, very long Singapore next week. So everyone else is just warming their tyres up. I think we're going to see at least one. I think we're going to see at least a virtual, I think, at this point. Are we going to get all 17 cars finish the race, the sprint race?
I would be surprised. Obviously, in these conditions, very slippery out on track. I would be surprised if all 17 do make it to the checkered flag. But this is P1, and the standards are high here, so we do expect all 17 to get to the checkered flag.
Yeah, I think so. Massive shout out to Brendan in the chat, who's watching on and supporting Ben. So I'm going to put it's 3 retirements. I'm a bit mean and people are going to hate me for it, but I think it's going to be 3 retirements. Anyway, the 5 red lights coming up on your screens now. 3, 4, 5 red lights. And for the first time tonight, it is time to rock and roll for the sprint race. And let's see who gets a good start. It's hard to tell because the cameras are awful, but Tony got the better launch into turn 1, and they're both going side by side in towards turn 2. And Lukey is keeping tails of it as well. One of the McLaren, that's not got a good start, as well as Waity has left the session. That is not ideal. Hopefully we can get him back shortly as well. Mateo has also dropped a little bit as well from the order, so they're probably playing it safe a bit. So it's Tony from Callum, from Lukey, from Ben, as Konzo side by side, and Sam's an Entity are going for a move as well. Sam's is already up to 7th.
Yeah, Sam's turn Entity side by side coming into turn 3. They open the door up a little bit for Casper to try and make a move, but he's going to have to settle in behind. We're already seeing a bit of side by side action in the early phases of this sprint race, Jess.
Yeah, we are, and it's very great to see that they're going at it. No instance to report so far, as Larkin has made his way past Colin, in towards turn 6, and they now have to make their way towards turn 7 now into the infamous castle section. Hopefully everyone will make it unscathed, but looks like everyone has made it unscathed, so that's good news for everyone in the commentary box. No DRS activated, of course, so it's all going to be about the slipstream, the toe, like we saw in real life. It's very, very powerful. We can see Entity and Sabta going side by side once again in towards turn 15, and luckily Entity backs off. I don't think anyone would want to go for a move there because I think it'll be very, very risky. I would say as well, as Callum looking very good on the back of Tony as they make their way past turn 16. Here we come then as we're about to start the second lap. Callum is putting foot to the floor for Baku this evening, and he wants to lead more than anyone. Here he comes. He's got quite a bit of VRS to use, so I'm surprised he's not using it, but I think he's just going to be playing it very smart and staying behind until the very end so far, because Tony is quite fast at the moment, but Callum knows that he's got a long way to go and he's going to be patient. So is Lukey as well. He could be with it as well, but he's already almost out of the 1 second range. This is really great stuff. Most of them are keeping it relatively clean. It's a shame about Waity. He's been having connection problems all day, unfortunately.
Yeah, heartbreaking for Waity. The one thing I did notice on opening lap is Tony's back end seems quite loose in our final sector, and that allowed Cam to really get underneath his rear wing just as we was about to come on to the long start finish straight, and that potentially could cause a few issues for Tony later in the race if Callum's able to take advantage of that.
And the rears, we saw with Charles Leclerc earlier that the reason why he was struggling was because of the rear tyres, and that is what we're seeing, I think, from quite a few drivers already near the back, and we'll see them probably struggle towards the end of the race. Don't forget, no mandatory pit stops for these drivers in the sprint race. They don't have to pit, and so they can make their way to the end of the race on these tyres. And if it was a completely dry sprint race, it would have been medium compounded tyres for pretty much all of the race, because the softs are last, and the hards, well, they just don't have much grip really. So those are the two that you can expect right now. Meanwhile, Entity is getting ever so close on the back of Sam, so probably one of the closest battles alongside the front two as well, so we'll keep an eye on that as it continues. Entity had a few crashes in practice, but that's what practice is for. Oh, I think I saw Samson hit a little bit of the wall there. Hopefully no damage for the Ferrari driver. Here comes Entity in the Williams. I think he's going to see that as an advantage as he makes his way past Samster to 7th place. And don't forget that's some decent points on the board for him as he's making his way through on lap 3 out of 9. But meanwhile, the top two, they're just playing games right now and just making sure that Lukey doesn't have a sniff at these two.
Yeah, it seems like in the final sector, it definitely seems like Callum's got a little bit of the upper hand on Tony in the final sector thus far. The first sector, you're seeing Tony just break away a little bit by a couple of attempts, and I think that is all down to Callum just nipping the inside curves through turns 1 and 2, and it's just hindering his progress through those particular 2 corners. But you're going to see now in the final sector, Callum's going to close right up again, and we potentially could be seeing an overtaking opportunity down in towards turn number 1.
I think we could potentially, but I think if those two are anything to go by, they are saving a bit of the rears for later on in the race. Because if they go full guns for the whole race, that's where they're going to struggle. But we know that the game rewards smooth driving. So if you're very smooth in these wet conditions, and if you're a good trail breaker, you're going to be doing very well. Because in the wet, you need to be good at trail breaking. If you're not good at trail breaking, you're going to have quite a lot of oversteer around some circuits. So you've got to try and be very smooth on application of the steering wheel if you're on a wheel, of course. Same for a pad, really, but that's going to be very tricky. If I was on a pad, I would be loving this right now because I think this track is very suited to a pad user. We're on the 4th tour very soon. Callum, I think, is just going to wait a little bit. You never know. He's going to use his battery. I think he's going to go for it. I think he's going to go for the lead this time. But if I was Tony, I would cover him off. I think Callum was just using it just to catch up to him. And then that's it. Mateo's passed Cam, by the way, up into 13th place. Nick's going to try and do the same thing. Casper doing the same to Samster, as luckily Waity has joined. Oh, there's almost a bit of contact between Casper and Entity. Keep it clean, boys, as I think Entity is losing a bit of grip on the rears as they make their way towards turn 2.
Yeah, and this 4-car battle right now for P6 is getting very spicy. Nick, Entity, Casper, and Samster all within striking distance, and you're seeing Lukey also closing in on Callum as well. So we could be seeing a three-way battle for the race lead very soon.
That is very exciting. We saw that in real life, of course. Fight for the lead in the main race. Unfortunately, did not go well for some teams, but I'm not going to be saying too much on who those teams is. And there's hardly, the rain is getting lighter on the circuit, as you can see, but again, still not enough for the dries to happen. So I think this is going to stay wet like this for a very long time. They've got to play it very smart, very strategic. I think once it gets to about lap 5, lap 6, if there's no safety car, I don't think we're going to get a safety car for the rest of this race. 6 tenths to the gap now between Tony and Callum, so he's putting foot to the floor once more as he wants to get the win. But don't forget, if he gets the win, he'll be starting 11th in the main race coming up. As we've got a yellow flag, Jacob's out of the race. And I did say about safety cars, are we going to get one? No. Okay, no safety cars. That was wrong on the racing line.
I'm assuming because everyone was able to get through tidy, and obviously Waity having rejoined the lobby quite some way away.
Right, fair enough. Yeah. Okay. I was a bit shocked there was no safety car though.
I mean, there definitely could have been a virtual safety car deployed, but from what I'm seeing right now, I think the rain has stopped.
The rain has stopped. Wow, yes. Because I know in P2 that the rain was just keeping going. Now, probably because there was formation lap on, I don't know. Now that is going to be interesting. Obviously, we don't know about what the grip levels are there, only the drivers. And I think as soon as the DRS sign gets activated, that's when we know it's the right time. But it's still very slippy at the moment. You can still see the spray on the cars. So there is no way enough for slicks just yet. But maybe people near the back might go for it at the moment, as we're pretty much half race distance in this sprint race. And with it being overcast, that means the rain pretty much cools down, well, pretty much goes away slower compared to if it goes clear. Because if it goes clear, it would have dried up significantly at the moment. So thank you for bearing with us so far. Entity is right on the back of Nick as Entity tries to go on the attack, backs off luckily, because otherwise it could have ended in tears there. But it was about 800 of a second separating between Entity and Nick almost making contact in turn 16. But luckily, no can do for Entity, but he's going to have the DRS on Nick down this front straight.
Yeah, and I wonder if we're going to see anyone dive into the pit lane. Honestly, if I was one of the drivers out there right now, I would have my tire temperatures wide open so I can see if my intermediates are starting to overheat, because that's also a very good indication, not only with the DRS being activated, but if your intermediates are starting to overheat, then you get into that crossover period.
Yeah, we could get towards that crossover period as Matteo and Cam are in the pit lane. So they're going for the gamble then. Now, I'm seeing it's completely dry in Sector 1. I might be wrong.
It's looking bone dry Sector 1, and here comes Entity on Nick. He's going to look to the outside for turn 3. And, yeah, Nick able to defend that inside line, but Entity looking for the better traction down the inside in towards turn number 4. Again, not wanting to risk going side by side there. Smart driving for Entity, but right now he's placing his car in some cheeky positions for Nick and making life just a little bit difficult for him.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers are going difficult for him at the moment. I think this is very smart if you're Matteo. Oh no, Matteo's hit the wall. I spoke too soon. He's hit the wall. I think it's still slippy. I think it's one lap too early, I think, for Matteo. But we'll see with Cam as he makes his way through turn 5 and 6 now. I don't think it's good for any tyre, to be honest. I think if I were you, just stay on inters as Waitsy is now coming into the pit. So we'll see what Tony does later on as well. But yeah, it's still slippery in Sector 2.
Yeah, it's
Matteo's out of the race.
Matteo's done a I am stupid moment
in
the castle section.
Oh, no safety car because obviously it's too late for a safety car.
Just like what happened in qualifying, Matteo makes contact with the castle.
Huge for the championship.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is, in terms of the confidence and going into the feature race, his confidence is going to be absolutely hit for 6 now after doing that in not only the one-shot qualifying, but also in the sprint race as well. Meanwhile, Tony must have seen that and been like, okay, I'm in his head. I've got this.
Matteo's going to start 16th in the main race. Not good at all. Because only the top 10 get reversed, not the entire grid. So Konzo is on softs. So we'll see. I don't think the gap's going to come down enough. If I were you, I don't know if I would stay out right now because it's still quite slippy. I would potentially risk it and stay out, but it depends on what your other drivers will do. Tony seems to be still fine on the set of the intermediate tyres, but the tyre temps will go up completely. I'll be interested to know in the chat what you would do, but it's a very hard decision for all drivers involved because you can see some slippy bits and some dry bits. Oh, the turn 15 is still quite tricky, but the gap between Konzo and Papa Squatch is not coming down, and Tony's still setting fastest laps. So I would stay out if I were you.
Yeah, I think the Indus is definitely the better tyre to be on at this moment in time. I'm looking at the gap to the leader between Konzo and Tony, and that gap is just continuing to increase and increase. So definitely the dries are not working for these guys down towards the back at this moment in the race.
Yep, the top 2 are staying out. The top Lukey's staying out as well. Ben, Atzelot, Nick. And they're going side by side with Casper, actually. Casper to the inside in towards turn number 1. And the inside line works for Casper. Can Nick get the switchback coming up towards the middle of turn... towards turn 2? It's going to be tight. I don't think Nick has got this one, but I think Nick's doing a good job just holding on. Entity's there too. So is Sam. So is Colin. Papa Squad, I don't think is within that range. Konzo's dropping about 6 seconds to 26 seconds. So not good at all. but Nick is bumper to bumper on Casper right now, and that's going to be a very entertaining final couple of laps for these boys right now, and also a good entertaining last couple of laps for Tony and Callum.
Yeah, Tony and Callum are starting to bunch up at the front. Obviously, we've got this 5-car battle between Casper, Nick, Entity, Samster, and Colin. And, I mean, as you mentioned, obviously, the top 10 get reversed in terms of the order. I mean, if you're Colin right now, do you risk going for an overtake, risking your race, or do you settle for 10th?
Yellow flag. That's probably wait to see.
Yeah, I think that's wait to get out of the way. What I was going to say, though, do you risk going for an overtake if you're Colin, or do you just sit in 10th, knowing that you'll be starting from pole position in the future?
I wonder if Colin knows this right now. Very interesting. I don't know, but it depends. I wonder if Ed's played the tactic. I think Colin wants to go for the overtake, you know, because starting second around Baku is probably better because you can get a toe. So Tony and Callum, let's watch this battle go for the win of this race. I think they're going to play it safe here because they're going to be starting, I think, 9th and 10th anyway. And we know with Tony how starting 9th and 10th doesn't really matter because they're going to climb up as much positions as they can. No DRS sign activated yet. And we know how those soft runners are still not catching up. We're not seeing fastest laps from any of them. So,
is that Axlock who's done so?
Is that Axlock? No, it's Waity letting the drivers through. It's
Waity told me the dummy. I saw yellow flag and I saw an orange car going through the yellow flags. Waity has sold me the dummy.
Yeah, Waity has sold the dummy, unfortunately. He's a lap down, well, I think he is almost a lap down, actually, which is a bit sad, but you still got the feature race and you're not starting last, so that's a good thing. So heading towards the castle section for one final time. No safety cars. I don't think we've had a VSC either, so they're all keeping it clean. Ignore the dummy yellow flags for the time being because this is going to be absolutely insane. Right now, we've got the battle for the lead, battle for the sprint podium, and a battle for who's going to get pole position in the main race. There's going to be some tactics going on here. I can feel it. So here comes Callum. I think this might be a photo finish, but we'll have to wait and see. Past turn 16, I'm looking at the ERS usage for Callum. Decent amount. Tony's got more, though. I think Tony's got this one in the bag, unless Callum could do something about it. This is going to be very, very intense, to say the least. I don't think Callum's going to challenge this. Tony wins the sprint race by 0.2 per second. Callum in second. Lukey will be starting in third for the main race. But look at this. We've got, I think, 4 or 5 cars for the last few points in this sprint. This is the closest finishing Baku ever. Nick's 7th, but just missed out on 6th by 56 thousandths.
And look how close Samster was overtaking Nick as well.
Oh my God, that was insane. But that means, though, Colin will be starting the sprint from pole position and Entity will start in second. Papa, unfortunately, just missed out, so you'll be starting 11th. Wow. Now that's a TikTok moment, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, that is one for the box, 100%. 3 wide crossing the line between Casper, Nick and Samsa. And I think Entity potentially made that possibly 4 wide, and he was only
I think it was 4 wide.
Samsa.
Yeah. And I think if those of you in the chat, you're probably thinking, what on earth just gone on? We don't know. As I think we're just waiting on Cam to finish. There we go. We will be setting up a new lobby after this, so as soon as everyone's finished, we will be doing a new a lobby as well, because otherwise that'll be absolute chaos. So Tony had a dry setup, apparently, according to the P1 chat. That is interestingly on how many people have got dry setups and how many have gone for wet setups. But let's run through your order then. So Tony wins, so he gets 10 points, then Callum in second, Lukey third, Ben fourth, Atslot, Casper, Nick, Samster, Entity, and Colin in your top 10. Those top 10 will be reversed, and then Papa Squadron Conte will get the last point in the sprint. Then it'll be Larkin, Cam, and Waitsy, your final finishers, and Mateo and J. Cole, your retirements. I was close. I was one off from getting my prediction correct, spot on, but unfortunately I wasn't. So there we go. So that was your order then for the sprint, and that's going to be your order for the main race, with obviously the top 10 getting reversed. So we're just going to be resetting the lobby, so bear with us whilst we do that. But Tony and Callum were on another level today.
Yeah, and you could just see like just how smooth the pair of them were driving in certain sectors. I mean, as I was saying, that Callum definitely appeared stronger in our final sector, and upon hearing that Tony was running a dry setup, maybe that was a little bit more apparent. Maybe that is the reason why the back end just kept stepping out for Tony in our final sector. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen in the feature race, where it is not gonna be raining. So we're gonna see the true pace of Tony.
Light cloud to clear to light cloud is going to be the weather for the main race coming up. And the tyres you can see on your screen, C5, C4, C3s. So they're the softest tyre available on the Pirelli range, and they're going to have to manage it. What tyres will they start on? We know that the softs don't last well on some tracks, but around here, it is quite a decent track tyre to be on, because the tyre deck is not too bad due to the fact that there are quite narrow corners and not many places for you to go top speed unless you are at the start finish straight. Expected tyre wear per lap is around about 5%, and the crossover point 3 laps between the softs and the mediums, so you've got to make your way through the field as quickly as you can if you want to do that. But I would expect most people to be starting on the medium compound of tyres. So what would you do if you were racing and on a 50% race? Would you start on the softs or would you start on the mediums?
I would definitely be starting on the mediums to keep my options open. The only reason I would ever start on the softs is if I'm towards the front and I want to try and pull away as quickly as possible.
Good shout. Good shout. I think if you're starting at the back, and if you want to make your way through the field quickly, softs. If you start at the front, soft. But if you're in between that, mediums is probably the best way to go, just to make sure you can manage your tyres for a bit longer. And they do have, obviously, another session, so they can change their setups. They can change time allocation too. So, you know, it's going to be quite intense to know which strategy that they're going to go on to. So we'll quickly go through our sponsors, because we've got a bit of a long time before we get this lobby underway. So first of all, we got Next Level Racing. £2,000 worth of prizes on offer this season, and there's an example of what the drivers and loads of you in the community could win. We also got our sponsors Pure Sim Gear. The driver with the most fastest laps and poles combined will win a pair of Pure Sim Gear gloves or socks. Our partners Vespertina offering 2 prizes this season, including the winner of the Going Gets Tough award will win a Race the Dream t-shirt, and they will have to complete all their pre and post race interviews and finish outside the top 3. And we also got the winner of the One Hub Racing driver rankings will win a One Hub Racing t-shirt. And we also got our partners at SimGrid, who provide all the standings, and without them, they wouldn't be able to sign up to the league. And of course, our final partner and sponsor, Mental Health Foundation. Really tough times at the moment, so if you are suffering, please go to them, because they are a very good charity that can help anyone in need with their mental health. And mental health is just as important as physical health, in my opinion. So those are our sponsors, of course. Not much really to talk about for the time being, but mainly to talk about people's expectations, because of course reverse grid inside the top 10, there's going to be people that we may not expect that's going to be starting on the front row. How long are they going to hold to the lead before the faster guys catch up to them?
That's going to be the question. I mean, in terms of the dry pace, we generally do see a decent 5-6 car train, and then later in the stages, after the pit stop phases, that's when we really start to see 1 or 2 drivers really start to stretch their legs. I'm going to be very interested to see what Matteo and J. Cole can do, because those two are very quick drivers and they are starting from the back of the grid. So it's going to be interesting to see their progress. Tony being in that midfield along with Callum and Arndt, how they're going to navigate all the cars around them early on. Colin being up in pole position for the start of the race. Obviously, he is very consistent, is Colin, but he does always get done over by the safety car. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens again.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers get screwed with the safety cars, and I think John and Colin combined are the ones that get screwed over there, and they are honestly probably very, very unlucky. So they're going to hope that, well, Colin's going to hope that the safety cars come in their favour today. If I was Colin, I would potentially go on to a set of the soft compound tyres to start, but you never know, you may want to go on to a set of the medium compound tyres to make sure he has a bit of an edge later on in the race as well. So again, we'll have to wait and see as the race continues. I have got an invite to the lobby, so we should hopefully be starting soon. If any drivers watching this, please make sure you get into the lobby ASAP, and that we could get started. I will send you an invite as well, Mike, as well, as we get underway, and we will go through your order in just a moment too, as I've just sent you an invite. There you go.
Thank you. I actually do have an interesting theory of what I think some drivers might do.
Oh.
And it'll be interesting to see if anyone does it. Obviously, Baku is one of those circuits where a safety car can be deployed at any point. It's so easy to lose a car, put it in a wall, as we saw earlier with J. Cole and Matteo. I wonder if anyone is going to be thinking, do you know what? There's a good chance of safety cars around here. Should I start on the slowest tyre, the hard compound tyre, get that out of the way, and maybe do a medium? Yeah.
Double medium is not a bad shout around this track. I managed to do it and it was fine. And the fronts, they don't wear too much around it. It's just the rears. And even then, it didn't even get to 20%. But it does depend on how aggressive or smooth your driving style. Because if you're too aggressive on the wheel, then your tyres are going to be absolutely killing after a few laps. So that's what they got to be careful with, of course. So, and this track does reward smooth driving. So yeah, double medium if possible around here. If I were you, unless there's a safety car, avoid the hards, because even though there's less tyre wear around it, you're going to lose so much time to the cars around you who are on the softest tyre. I do believe that's everybody in the lobby. So Lukey is just setting up the grid ready for the proceedings, and then we'll go through your order in the formation lap. 26 laps await our drivers this evening, and of course we've got a few DRS zones to boot, a few overtaking spots we saw in the main race towards turn 1, and we saw some overtaking spots into turn 2, DRS zone in towards the middle towards turn number 3, and then that was it. And that was the main overtaking spots we will see. And of course the infamous castle section is going to be interesting indeed. I wonder if we'll see some surprises. I'm going to keep on my eye on Ben, because Ben's going to be starting quite higher. Casper as well, looking quite quick. Nick, if he could not spin, he could be up there as well. That's the beauty of this reverse grid. We're giving people in the top 10 that may have not had a chance to fight up the front, to fight in the front and try and defend for their life. Because Azerbaijan, maybe not the best track to overtake, hence why nobody in P1 has chosen their engine penalty to be at this track. But I will not be too surprised at the next sprint race in a couple of weeks' time to see a lot of drivers going for engine penalties around Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil, another track where we could be seeing a decent few engine penalties being taken. And again, I mean, I'm still surprised no one decided to take one for tonight at Azerbaijan, because it definitely would have been interesting to see. And obviously this track being very good for overtaking. Brazil, another one where it's quite good for overtaking as well, so I can kind of get the logic of saving it for Brazil and just keeping the engine way just a little bit more efficient than that throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. They've got to manage their engine wear as much as possible, because they have to take it at least once per season. And as long as you don't DNF, if you take it now, you can get to the end of the season with it. So They got to be careful after all in terms of managing their engine to the end. And if they DNF right towards the end of the race, it could cost them a little bit. And the tier coordinator has told everybody to ready up, which means we can get going for some action at One Hub Racing around the street at Baku once more. But this time we get to see everyone's dry pace instead of the wet. And of course, hopefully the drivers remember their setups. If you are watching, remember your setups. We don't want to see any default setups out there on track, because it's an absolute nightmare around this track. Luckily, I remember this week because Lukey reminded me, but I'm reminding everybody else who's watching, please remember your setups, because otherwise you're going to be in a spot of bother. So, Colin on pole, anything can happen.
Yep, and speaking of a spot of bother, I am now going to reverse it and put you on the spot. Your podium predictions for this race.
Podium. I need to wait until we get the order here because I can't remember who's starting where. I think Tony he's quick around there. So I think Tony will get second. I'm gonna go with, actually no, I think Tony, Casper, Axelot, my top three.
Tony, Casper, Axelot, okay.
I'm being bold, but bold is the name of the game at One Hub Racing. What about you?
I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna go for Casper and Callum Tony.
Casper, Callum, and Tony. I think that's a more realistic prediction. That because I think the only difference is I've gone Axelot for third, and you've gone Tony in your top three. So there we go. So I've got a question in the chat that I need to read. Do you think Sam has it in him to become world champion? Well, Sam is low down the field, but we have seen surprises in Baku before, and anything can happen around here, so it is still possible. And we do have some more narrow tracks coming up, like Singapore, Canada towards the end of the season. You know, anything could happen in that front.
I mean, there's always potential. Like, you never know what can happen over the course of the season, and Sam could definitely be up there at some point.
Get your questions in the chat, guys, because we've got a few more minutes before we could get underway for the main action. And luckily, I ate my lunch quite late today, because otherwise I would have been very hungry right now, as we are about to get some racing action underway. I can see I'm seeing if I can see any tyres in the garages, but I can't see them in the garages this week, which is very annoying because I wanted to have a clue what tyres are going to be starting on. But no, we're going to just have to wait a little bit. So I'm seeing if no, we don't have the ready up call just yet, so I think we're still gonna have to wait a little bit longer as well. And Matt was Samson's teammate. Yes, he was. I do remember, Matt, that you were Samson's teammate, and you done very well. I would like to see you back at One Hub Racing in the future, maybe next season. Wink, wink. Season 26. I would like to see you in One Hub Racing and race with Samster. Maybe you two could be teammates potentially. You never know. You never know. Eyes. Oh, so right, you heard it here, folks. We might see Matt at One Hub Racing next season. Exclusive. I'm gonna screenshot that. Anyway, formation lap is on, and let's look at the times. I will run for your order then for this Grand Prix whilst we do it. So, from back to front in your top 10. Colin will be starting on pole. He's on mediums. Entity will be starting second on mediums as well. Samster on mediums in third. Nick on softs in fourth. Casper on mediums in fifth. Cam has been disqualified. Never mind. Axelot in sixth on softs. Ben on mediums in seventh. Lukey on softs in eighth. Callum on mediums in ninth, and Tony 10th on mediums as well. So the top two in a sprint race starting on the same tyres. And then outside the top 10, Papa's on softs, Konzo's on mediums as well as Larkin, Cam's on mediums, Wait's on softs, and Matteo and Jaco are on hards. So all three tyres are being used. I don't think the hards are the right tyre to be on to start the race, but you never know around here.
I mean, this was the thing of what I was thinking, obviously, in terms of just like using the slowest tire because you have a good probability of an early safety car, and then just do a medium to the end. Because obviously the guys that are starting on the mediums right now, they have to switch over to either another set of softs or another set of mediums, and then try and come back to these same tires late in the race. Whereas obviously for Matteo and J. Cole now, they have free reign of all the faster compounded tires to be on late in this race.
They do. They do have the free reign to make their hard compound tyres last as long as they possibly can. So we'll see what they can do. So I'm intrigued to see how this start is going to be. Because we know, remember the top 4 who are starting this race? They were 4 wide going into the start-finish straight towards the end of the sprint race. So I think there's going to be an absolutely crazy start, as Waitsy luckily has just joined. Luckily no retirements for Waitsy, as everyone is heating their tyres. Luckily everyone is quite close together, so they should be fine. Oh no, Matteo's left the session. Oh, that's annoying. Hopefully he'll be able to join back. I'll see if I can get him back in. Actually, no, I can't because I'm not the co-com. But hopefully Matteo could join back ASAP.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get him back in as quickly as possible.
So Matteo, if you're watching, add Mike on EA. As I hang a bit of the sniffles, that's not helpful. So we're about to get underway then for the 5 red lights. Oh, not Jacob. Callum doing a bit of...
He's back in.
He's back in, that's good. Hopefully he'll be able to join his car though very soon, because otherwise he's going to be in a spotter bodder. Let me just go on board. There we go, because we'll be able to see the 5 red lights from Colin's angle. So here we go then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Baku. And it's time to rock and roll. NC gets a much better start than Colin does into turn number 1. But we'll see what we can do. Colin sweeps round the inside and it helps him. He maintains the lead thus far. But Entity under pressure from Samster and Nick heading towards turn number 2. Very clean off the line so far. But Entity's dropped back a little bit. Down to 4th. Nick is in the podium positions for now. As he's passed him. Casper trying to make his way through past Entity now and taking advantage. But no can do. Tony's dropped a bit from the field, but Callum is already 4 wide in towards turn 4. Very close between Callum. Callum's already made up a few places already, and Tony is not. So dissolve the class for Tony, but a real masterclass from Callum as he's already up into 7th. Wow.
Yeah, Callum with a huge lunge down the inside into turn 3, making up several positions. Tony, as you mentioned, getting slow off the line, and he's dropped all the way back to 15th. I wonder if there's any potential damage on Tony's car. But for right now, Callum looking strong off the start. Colin has already broken our 1 second gap, so just showing his consistent pace at the front right now, as you're seeing Nick and Samster getting close to each other, as well as Entity in the mix as well. I think they're going to pick up right where they left off from the sprint race.
This is going to be so intense because we got a shake-up order, and Colin felt like his qualifying pace was not the best, but he loves his race pace. Could this come to help him in some way on those medium compounded tyres, whilst everyone else gets held up a little bit? Maybe Nick can help with this. Here comes Entity though, right on the back of Nick, and also Samster right on the back, Nick on the back of Samster. This huge DRS train in towards turn number 1 is 4 wide once again. They continue where they left off and they're keeping it clean. Nick's up to 2nd, passed by, well, Samster's being passed by Nick, but Samster's still right on the back of this, and Nick's closing up to his teammate Mike.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if that was a little bit of a Mercedes teamwork right there, because Colin lost a huge amount of time to the battle in behind. I'm wondering if Colin might have potentially just let off a little bit just to make sure his teammate got DRS on him.
Yes, because Nick, don't forget, is on the soft compounded tyres, whereas Colin is on the mediums. So Nick is obviously a bit faster, so we would expect Nick to make his way through the field quite rapidly. And I know NC is quite keen to make his way through the field, as Tony and Konzo hang a bit of a ding-dong battle in the background in the exit turn 6, heading towards turn number 7 now, as Tony, just about avoids the wall there. Now, Tony's used to having clear air. This is for the first time in this race where Tony has to suffer was from some dirty air, and it is very, very tricky. I'm kind of glad. He was thinking about taking his engine penalty here. I think after seeing what has happened in this race, he's probably glad he is not taking his engine penalty here because he would have dropped down anyway.
Yeah, and I think potentially we might see again a little bit of Mercedes teamwork here. In fact, no, I don't think.
Collins increased the gap to Nick.
Yep. Yeah, I think Collins just going now. I think Nick making that one mistake in towards the cancel section is now going to have to suffer the DRS training behind.
This is going to be intense as Callum now sets the fastest lap of the race. So Callum could be in this battle as well. Casper goes around the outside of Entity, but Entity holds the inside line through turn number 2. They're keeping the wheels locked, and we saw obviously Perry and Sainz come together. That didn't work well, but this is working well for Entity right now as they make their way towards turn number 3 and 4 now. Oh, they almost hit each other.
No, it's Constantino effect. Axlock's front wing gone. I think Callum's lost a bit of front wing as well.
I think there was definitely a bit of front wing loss for Axlock. He's dropping way down.
Yeah, and Callum's missing a front right end plate as well. So
they're gonna have to come in
with a bit of damage out there.
Yeah, that's gonna cost him a lot. Matteo wants another invite, please, Mike.
Okay. Has he added me on EA? That's the question.
I don't think he has. So Matteo, is it just either bring Mike on?
Yeah, it's just either bring Mike on EA.
Yeah, either bring Mike on EA, please, Matteo, and then he will go and invite you. Thank you very much. We will carry on with this race. Casper is out of DRS range of Entity, which has not helped him one bit. So let's see if he can climb up just a little bit more. I have to say, I'm very impressed with Colin's pace right now, and I think what's happening right now is Nick's being the Trulli and holding everyone else up, which is fair play to him. And this is one of those tracks where you can work together. We saw that with Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri do exactly the same in real life, where we saw Norris way down the field trying to hold up the rest of the field. Casper is in then, so I wonder if that's an early pit stop or if it's for damage. I wonder if it was for damage actually in turn 3 and 4. So here comes Casper. I will keep an eye on this. We'll see if there's any more battles. Anyway, I'll jump back to it if that's the case. Yes, it is front wing damage, unfortunately, Mike.
Yep, front wing damage there for Casper. Wing change for him as well. It's not ideal for him, but he has a long race ahead of him now to get himself back into this. Yeah,
still anything is possible. We've seen the ones who've had trouble racing at the start in the P2 tier, they still managed to get 4th or 5th because the hard tyres just went on for such a long period of time. And that's the beauty of that 2-stop. Anything can happen. So, Casper, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this whilst racing, which I don't know why you're not, just keep going, if I were you. As Matteo is still not joined yet, which is not ideal. So Matteo, hopefully you should be getting an invite soon if you haven't already. That's all. Sam's still almost at the moment through turn 15, and Entity's gained a bit of time on him.
Yep, Entity gaining a bit of time on Samster here. Colin 2.8 seconds up the road.
And Nick was passed by Samster and Entity, so I think Nick must have made a mistake, or his softs is dying. Matteo wants an invite again, please.
Yep, I can send him another invite. Nick looking very slow for the fast left right. I'm wondering if he's going to come in. Damage.
Yeah, he might have got damage actually that we probably didn't see, which is annoying. It's annoying that we don't get to see all of the battles. But here comes Papa Squanch down the inside of Ben in towards turn 1. Oh, he hits the wall. He hits the wall. This could be advantage Ben in towards turn number 2. A bit of a lockup from him as well. And Ben just about gets the move done. And we got Entity, I think. No, that's not Entity. That's Ben. Yeah, that's Ben still. I'm trying to keep it hard between the Williams. Have we got Tony? Tony, by the way, is already up into 7th. And he made contact. He's spun and he's hit the wall. And he's lost a bit of his end plate. I won't be surprised, Mike, if we see a VSC. But this race has gone from bad to worse from Tony. I was saying, he's already up into 6th. And then boom, he's hit the wall. Oh
In
no!
the wall goes Tony and tumbling down the order. Matteo saying he's unable to join the game.
Oh,
You're unable to join the lobby, which is unfortunate. I am doing my best to make
we
sure
are
that you do get the
trying. We
invite.
are trying. Let me try and. Oh no, I can't. There's a safety car inviting, but obviously we got the action to cover because there's just so much action happening at the moment. It's just hard to keep up sometimes. So we'll keep an eye on that as we make our way through. Lap 5 of 26. Colin still leads, and he's still increasing the gap to Entity. And it's all because of this squabbling happening behind. And obviously Callum pitted quite early on as well. So I wonder if he's got a bit of damage too. Nick pitted too. So that is going to be interesting. So they're going to have to stretch those hard tyres for a bit longer. Here comes Samster on at the back of Entity towards turn number 1. DRS wide open. And we saw Atsock come in as well. One of these got some damage. Entity has made his way, Samster's made his way past Entity quite comfortably. DRS overtake. So I think front wing, yeah, for Axelot. I think someone else in. Waity is in, and so is Tony. So they're all coming in. As Entity almost got past Samson once again.
Yeah, Entity again underneath that rear wing of the Scuderia Ferrari. You got his teammate in behind Entity's teammate in Ben JS just going about his business. Currently in P4. He's under a little bit of pressure from Larkin in behind, so it'll be interesting to see that battle. I mean, we've seen it many times in the past between these two, and it'd definitely be interesting to see who's going to come out on top between them both this time round.
In other leagues as well, we've seen two of them fight against each other, and it's always been really tasty. Even though I wasn't the one commentating on it, I watch it back, and it's just like, those two are amazing, they get on well. This is the Ben we like to see. Ben didn't do as well in Monza, but he won in Austria. Hopefully, he can be on a challenge to maybe potentially get a podium, maybe a win later on as well. Matteo, I don't think your AI has killed anyone because it is ghosted, but yeah, it's a shame that you can't join back, my friend. We have tried, but fingers crossed you can come back fighting next week. It's such a shame. As well that you're not going to score many points out of this, but don't give up hope, Matteo, if you're watching this. As Entity right on the gearbox of Samster, I think he's going to get this one unless Samster covers. Samster's covered to the outside, which is not the best line to cover if I were you.
Ooh, squeeze on the exit as well.
As
I will say the one, yeah, Entity through. I will say the one benefit for Matteo at the moment is Tony's not having the best of races, so in terms of the grand scheme of things, in terms of the championship, as it currently stands, not losing massively due to this connection issue.
No, not at all. I have to say, Waity's not doing too bad. Don't forget the top 12 do score points in One Hub Racing in the feature race. As, oh my goodness, we can see 3 wide into turn 4. Tony's in this as well. This is not going to end well. Actually, it does end well. Okay. So they are keeping it clean, which is great to see. Waity's up to 12th. Impressive.
Waity up to 12, trying to get onto the back of Callum. Callum's on the back of Axlock here. Nick is 5.5 seconds up the road. He's in a bit of a no man's land. He's just got to concentrate on his own race and try and make this middle stint work out well for him. Yeah. We got a lovely free car battle between Konza, Cam K, Mum, and Jay Cole, and this is going to be tasty down into turn 1 now.
I am looking forward to this. This is going to be probably quite the closest battles that we could see. So watch this space, everybody. Here comes Samster once more. Samster has got plenty of BRS. Entity got slightly less, but still plenty. So I think that engine braking slightly higher. And Samster stays in second. Jacob the inside of Camkate. And Jacob's up into 6th. So moves are being made all throughout the field. And don't forget, these mediums can stretch 11, 12 laps. And they could do a double medium stint. But you never know, there could be a safety car as Entity makes his way past Samster. And they just about get through the corner, okay? As Entity almost makes the switch back, but doesn't get the switch back. as I think I could see Samster's really struggling with the rears on that Ferrari.
Yeah, I think the rear tires might just be falling away from Samster here under pressure from Entity and behind.
In towards
As
turn
we're seeing
7.
Entity going down the inside. This will be bold and brave if he can pull it off, but unable to do it at the outside line, having the better grip. And Samster able to hold on there.
Coming through the castle section now. You can see Samson struggling and Entity's been saving his tyres just a little bit more. This is also going to bring Ben into play as well, so watch out for Ben. Entity's going to be very brave if he makes his work, and he does. Beautiful through turn 14. Oh, he spun.
Oh, and so Samster.
From hero to zero between these two. And that's allowing Ben to go into second. Wow, a Lark is in third. Oh my God. This is going to be one crazy race so far. Colin's in. He's taken this opportunity after all the squabbles. The gap's now 10.7. Oh, there's a no-brainer for pitting. He's going to probably come out quite comfortably in the lead anyway.
Yeah, and he's up there for the set of the hard compound tyres, as we're going to see Samster and Entity follow him into the pits as well. But what a... oh, as I just gone... Was that Entity on the pit lane exit there, losing the car?
I think it was. I was surprised if he did get a warning for that, but Nick... Oh, he's hit the wall. I wonder if we're going to get a safety car. No, okay, no safety car. That's probably music to Colin's ears. Cat, by the way, in fourth. He would have probably loved that safety car, but unfortunately not. So Colin's still your net race leader. I think we are going to get I think there's a safety car waiting to happen, unfortunately. Edsy's still spinning in the wall. He was doing so well. He's lost the front wing. How's he going to make it through? Oh, yeah. If I were the top three, I would stay out, hoping their safety car comes out.
I mean, you never know what can happen. If
even though you're going to come out like way behind anyway, you're going to be on the fresher rubber.
Yep, I mean, absolutely. And
it's going to be a safety car. There we go. Called it.
Well, I'm interested now because I do believe Colin will still be in the race lead.
Because of the gap that he's had, Colin will still lead this race.
I'm interested to see if Ben and Larkin are going to be able to get the jump on Nick here.
But will any of the ones who've already pitted go on to set up the hard tyres until the end of the race? As the top three come in, Cam comes in. Colin, is he going to think about going on to a set of hard? I wouldn't, because you just stayed out on them. Yeah, stay out. Thank you, Colin. You would have given me a panic attack if you came into the pits then. Nick's in. I think he's got a spare set of hards left. Yes, he's on hards. Oh, this is going to get interesting. So I think a lot of people are getting their 2 stops out of the way if you've got some hards left. Let's see. It worked in P2. So here comes. So Nick is the net race leader because he's just pitted out onto a set of hard tyres. Atsox came in as well. Lukey, Papa and Waitsy have done their 2 stops. Tony, second stop as well. Sam's did second stop too. I would say game
Nick
on.
Nick down to Samster have already made their mandatory 2 stops.
That's
the top
correct.
8 yet to make their second pit stop in this race. Colin's race pace has been absolutely incredible thus far. However, he's going to have Ben JS and Larkin right behind him on fresh and medium. And is lap 10 of 26 here.
And he's not going to have his teammate for company. He was so lucky that he had his teammate in third in the start of the race. So he was able to hold up everybody else. He's not going to have that. So I think he has done at least one safety car restart in P1 before.
Well, I mean, I can only imagine the words that Colin is saying right now because he hates the safety car for
He's
this
probably
particular
like,
reason.
F me. Honestly, the hards could last quite a bit of time here. So I just hope that we don't get. I don't know. I think Colin would want another safety. I don't know. Would Colin want another safety car?
Yeah, 100%. Colin would definitely want.
So he could do
another
his
safety
second
car
stop and still, you know.
Well, the issue for Colin right now is obviously
He's on hards.
Yeah, he's on the hards. They are going to be obviously, similarly worn to those that have made their two-stop onto the set of hards. So for Nick, Axlock, Lukey, and Wadesy, he's not going to have like a grip advantage on them. And
it's just like they have an extra stop on them. As Jaco and Konzo, very clever. They're getting their two stops out of the way. I like that tactic. I like that. As Konzo's on hard, so is Jaco. If you have hards left, go on them. That's my suggestion. It worked in P2, so it'll work in P1, I think.
I'm interested in the medium runners as well, because obviously Papa, Tony, Samson, obviously, I mean, Mateo's
they're not going to get to the end.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting because they've made two stops now. Those mediums are going to be like hanging on by a thread at the end of this race.
And yeah, that could be interesting. We got 3 different strategies, and we got one extreme to the other, Mike. Cam's on softs. Now,
I think
Cam wants. I think Cam wants to get the lead straight away here. If Cam doesn't gain on the opening lap, he's in the spot of bother.
Well, what I was going to say is I think Cam's potentially looking at it. Everyone's bunched up again. You saw what it was like in the early stages when everyone was side by side early on.
We saw it with Nick earlier, didn't we?
Cam's probably thinking, a chance of another safety car is quite high. Let me go on this set of softs by here.
And then go on the set of the hards or the mediums till the end of the race afterwards.
Exactly.
So I think Cam might be playing it very smart. So I think, obviously Mateo's AI is going to be lapped, but I think the safety car will go in this lap.
Yep, it definitely should be.
Let me check the map actually to see where everyone else is. Safety car's in this lap. So here we go then. Let's go on board with the man who's been leading this race since lap 1. And if I were you, you've got to wait. You've got to go as late as you can. You do not want to give any driver in behind you the tow. You want to give them as less tow as you possibly can. And of course, Colin has got to wait until the safety car is fully in. And I know that Colin's in a party with quite a few P1 drivers. So they'll probably be giving advice or anything like that. So we'll see what they could do. Ben's right on the gearbox as well. Larkin to follow. And we know how Ben and Larkin could drive. Callum is in this too. Watch out for Callum. That's the man I'm keeping my eye on. Because even though he's on 6 laps.
He's the inside already.
Yeah, he's on the inside already. Colin, he's got a good restart. Decent restart. Ben, I think, has been caught napping. Turn number 1, contact being made from Cam. So Cam's dropped down into 5th. Callum up into 4th spot. But Colin still in the lead this race. Casper gets past. Oh, he's ghosted. Okay, that is similar to what happened in P2 when someone got ghosted behind each other. And that was very weird. Nick up the inside. Oh, no, Nick's not going to go up the inside. Never mind. It's towards turn 3. He's not going to do so. But Colin timed that restart to perfection. That was very tidy for the Mercedes driver, and he's already pulling away.
Yeah, but the annoyance right now for Colin is that Larkin and Ben JS are not battling right now. So those mediums are bringing Ben right onto the back of Colin here.
Yep, so I think those two are going to be battling for quite a bit. And don't forget the top 4 still yet to pit. I think Casper's still yet to pit as well. Cam, I know the softs won't get to the end. And I think he's still got one more stop to make, I think. Yeah, Cam's still got one more stop to make.
I think the top 5 are yet to pit a second time in this race. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. They're definitely going to need
top 6.
A safety car. Oh, top 6, yeah?
Yeah, Casper's still got one more stop to make.
Yeah, so top six, going to be interesting to see what happens with them once they make their second pit stops. They're going to be on much quicker tyres at the end of this race, but it's a huge, huge gap to kind of claw back, and then you got to make your way through the
Oh,
field, which is the
Lukey!
risk itself.
Lukey's going to be in a very intense battle with Axelot, I think. It's a huge
Oh, it's only on
DRS
Papa Squanch in
train.
the end.
Huge DRS train. And we'll see if Larkin can do it. DRS is enabled. We can see Tony and Papa Squanch down the inside and towards turn number 1. As well on the outside, hopefully not much contact. Nope. As Lukey's past Axelot in towards turn 1. Nicely done. Lukey's up into a net second right now, which is very impressive for him. He does like this track. And Axelot is struggling. He's struggling on those hard tyres. And Tony's saying thank you very much. Can he get round the outside? No, he's not. He's not going round the outside. But he's going to go for the switch back in towards turn 4. Ooh. No, he's not going to do it.
Apex. Parked on the apex right there from Axelot. Good defending. Tony was eyeing that switch back up, and Papa Squanch down the inside. What a move on Papa Squanch, but another little switch back there from Tony, and they're going to be side by side down in towards turn 7 here.
Turn 7 they go, and yep, Tony gets the move done. This is a great race so far. I'm enjoying this.
It is switchback central right now for Tony, and he's trying switchbacks on Axelot, and he's having to do switchbacks on Papa Squanch and behind as well.
Yeah, switchback after switchback, I think. And if you are liking this, make sure you do hit the follow button on Twitch, subscribe button on YouTube, and follow us on our social medias at One Hub Racing on Instagram, X, and TikTok. Because we stream every Sunday night, and this tier has been superb all season long. And it's about how people can manage their tyres. We've got a battle for the lead. Here comes Ben. I think Ben's got this in the bag. Ben to the outside, to the inside of Colin, takes the lead. I don't think Colin thought that. I think he knows he's on the fresher tyres, but it will come back to help him later on in the stint. So Colin will probably be playing the patient dogs here at the moment. Everyone from first down into 15th are in a DRS train. So any one of those top 15 could win this race. They've got no penalties either, as all of them are just going so close to the wall. Luckily, they're not hitting the wall. It's just little margins for error here at the moment. So I think there'll be a lot of people going onto the medium soon as well, as they head towards turn 6. Nicely done from Casper as he closes on cam right now. Ben could be on for his second race win of the season because he's looking on fire. But don't forget, he's still got to make one more stop.
Yeah, and that's going to be the thing, is that second pit stop and how it's going to affect these guys inside the top 6. How far back are they going to come out there?
They're going to hope for a safety car.
Yeah, I think that is the main hope for these guys right now, is another safety car being deployed. And what we should be seeing then is potentially everyone peeling off into the pits, because I'd imagine for right now everyone would be onto a set of mediums from this point onwards.
Yeah, mediums until the end. I think from, I would say lap 16, end of lap 16, mediums can get to the end of the race realistically. There may be some people that may want to stretch the mediums out for a bit longer, and then they could be very good towards the end, but you never know. You never know. And we are seeing pit window open for some drivers. Fastest lap set by Tony, so Tony could be back in at this race, because I believe Tony doesn't have to pit again, but his mediums will probably die at the crossover point very, very soon. Bit of an hour apart through turn number 2 once more. Who's the closest? Tony is on the back of Lukey. He's sensing an opportunity here in towards turn number 3. And a bit of contact once more. Lukey's still trying to not give up this one. Through turn 4. I'm losing track on corners here. No, this is turn 5 and 6. Lukey just about stayed ahead of Tony.
Yeah, and Tony unable to get the traction around the outside of 3, compromised him into turn 4 on the inside line, and Lukey able to defend that position. Very well done from Lukey in the Aston Martin. As Nick right now is he's just waiting for the opportunity to try and pick off either Cam K or Casper here. But the thing is, Kamke, I think his soft's already gone. He's already outside the 1 second window on Callum up ahead.
Yeah, and that's not going to help the ones that have already done their second stop because they want to try and close in on this train very quickly. So if I was Cam, unless Cam not figured about 2 stops already, is he? But the ideal crossover point has passed for the softs, I'm afraid. So I think Casper's got to make past Cam right now. Cam's got to pit for the mediums right now or the next lap. And Nick's got to get past too. Because otherwise, this man, Mr. Tony, is going to make lemons out of your lemonade. Larkin has made his way past Colin. Oh, Colin's almost hit the wall. That was so close. And Colin has dropped down into third. Have they not got damage there? Has Tony made his way past Cam? Yes, he has. So Cam's dropped down into 8th. Nick's got past. There's just so much action happening at the moment. Ben's leading all this train. Here comes Cam back on Tony. Lukey's in this as well. Oh, my God.
A lot of close action out there on track right now inside the top 10. You've seen the top 4 battling out, and it looks like Colin potentially, has he got an issue? Because he's dropped 1.7 off the back of the top 3.
Has he got damage?
I'm not sure, but he's definitely had some sort of issue here because he's just ahead of Casper now.
Or is he helping his teammate?
Maybe.
Is he doing a Lando Norris?
I mean, the thing is, though, if Colin was to back up, and this is the unfortunate side of it, if he does back up, he's giving Casper the ability to defend from Nick.
Exactly. So yeah, I think Colin. I wonder if Colin is saving a bit of tyres right now, because he knows that. To be fair, Ben and Larkin are just running away with it at the moment. They're doing so well to defend off these guys that are just pushing. Here comes Nick, by the way, on Casper. Casper to the outside, Nick to the inside. I think it's going to be an easy move for Mr. Nick Egan. Fresher tyres equals more grip equals position gained. And I don't think Casper wanted to fight that. So Casper down to 7th, 6th even. And he's got Tony for company. Well. Tony's up to 6th. He's in this fight as well. Ooh, bring it on.
This is going to be interesting. The Mercedes duo now versus the Haas duo right here.
And they're quite close against each other in the championship as well. And with the Saubers not scoring very well, this could be a battle for the lead in the Constructors. Oh my goodness. I saw one of the Mercedes almost having a bit of an off. I think that was Colin there.
Well, Colin's actually showing he's got the pace to get back within DRS range on Larkin. Ben has gone.
I wonder if the tyres are dying on the mediums then.
Potentially, but Ben is still getting away from Callum here in this race so far. So maybe the medium's not quite out of it just yet. But Colin closing up to Callum and Larkin. Nick has dropped back away from Colin, which is not ideal for him. And I think we could be seeing a little bit of Mercedes and Haas and teamwork going on by here, because
it's Mercedes, Haas for the net P1. No, actually no, Colin hasn't pitted yet. Never mind. And neither has Casper.
And here comes Tony on Nick now, and Tony should be able to get his job done. Casper.
Unless Casper's in. Casper's in, I think.
Casper's in.
It's about smart. Wants to stay out of this traffic. Tony's past Nick, by the way. I think Tony...
Axel, J. Cole side by side through turn 1. Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry.
Axel able to get the move done on J. Cole. Job done there for the McLaren, and he's trying to get himself back into this race after what was a very good sprint race, and he's now trying to make the move on Papa. Squans down the inside into turn 4, and a little bit of contact between Papa and Samster.
Fair play.
Yeah, as Papa Squan's able to just hold on to his car. He almost went a little bit wayward then after making a light bit of contact on the back of Samster.
Colin's within DRS range of Larkin now. We know how those hards could get up to temperature when they're back at the operating window. So watch out for Colin. But Ben looking very feisty on those soft to medium tyres. I think he could be on for his second win here if any of the other guys squabble a little bit. He's going to probably hope for a safety car. I think Nick and Lukey are on the best tyres out of the ones that have done their second stop. But we know how Tony can just dominate on tyres that just don't get to the end, but Tony can.
Well, I mean, I'm going to put it like this right now. Like, in my opinion, just because of the amount of laps we have left.
Let's go on softs.
I mean, for Ben JS, Callum, Larkin, and Colin, yeah. I think the soft tyres will be the ones to go on.
Colin's going in.
Going to get through on Colin, who dives into the pit lane.
Smart.
What I'd say right now is Nick is probably in the best position, but after losing DRS now and Tony, that could be Lukey very quick.
Yeah, I think Lukey's closing in as well, and we do know how well they fought around Hungary last week, and how that was intense. Oh my goodness, this battle's happening in the background. I'm going to have to cut to that battle, Samster versus Atslot, through towards turn 3 as Atslot gets the move done. Nicely done. J. Cole's in this as well, yes.
Papa Squanch.
Papa Squanch's. I have to say this is Papa Squanch's best race so far. Does he have to stop again? Let me check. I don't think so. No, he doesn't. Okay.
He doesn't, but
it won't get there.
I mean, I'm just going to say right now, every single time I've had a look at Papa Squanch, he has literally been drifting through these corners and
still doing
well. Not good for his tires.
I have to say, Papa Squanch, fair play.
I saw a bit of front wing on the through the castle section. Someone chipped a little bit of front wing off.
That was surely that's Mateo's AI. No, I don't know.
Trying to have a look and see if there's any front wing damage on any of the cars up ahead, but it definitely looked like a bit of wing damage going through the castle section. So
here comes Tony on Callum. Callum's tyres are dead, and it's going to be a very tasty overtake. If I was Callum, I would come in, because look at the straight line speed and pace advantage that Tony's got, and both Larkin and Callum are in the pits now. So your net race leader at the moment is Tony. Tony's had a bit of an off there, and that DRS advantage has gained quite a bit from him. He's got to be careful to not overdo it, as there's a moment. There's that Conzo?
That was one of the Ferraris I saw sideways in turn 1 right there.
It was either Conzo or Samster. I don't know which one it was.
I think it was Samster. I think it was Samster because Samster was up there.
Lukey almost got past Nick there. This is the fight for P3 here.
Well, I mean, I do have to bring something to the attention now, Jess. The gap in the corners, it seems like the hards are starting to close in on the mediums here a little bit.
Yeah, potentially. But I don't think it's going to make that much difference unless Nick could pull some sort of miracle. I think
it's only Tony they got to catch up to. It's not Ben. Ben's got to make a pit stop.
Oh, yeah. Ben's got to make a pit stop, yeah. But unless Nick could pull some sort of miracle on Tony, because Tony's a madman. Tony is way quicker than Nick, despite what tyres he's on. So I think this is a battle for second place between Nick and Lukey.
I wonder if there'll be like a mutual understanding now between Nick and Lukey to maybe DRS slipstream each other to try and get onto the back of Tony, because the tyres will go off at some point for Tony.
For Tony, yeah, it will. As Ben's in the pits, and now everyone has done their 2 stops, I believe. Let me check. Yes. Everyone has done their 2 stops.
I guess we're on Larkin. Up in the P10 goes Callum now.
Quite a bit of action happening all over the show right now, which is what we want to see. Oh, Conzo! And Conzo's out of the race. He retired in the pit lane. That is a shame. As Lukey almost had a bit of a moment on the exit of turn 4. The gap not coming down that much. They can't afford to squabble too much because otherwise it could be game over. We're on lap 21 and 26. So we lost 2 drivers so far in this race. Hopefully we won't lose out on any more. How is Papa Squanch defending like crazy? He's in 5th on really old mediums.
He's doing some fantastic work at the moment.
And Waity.
Yeah, and Waity. One thing I will say is, obviously there's been 2 retirees so far. I mean, technically you could class Matteo as a retirement as well, just for the fact he can't get into it. Yeah, that was your prediction at the start of the race.
No, I said that retirement's in the sprint race. Not the feature. I didn't say retirements in the feature race, did I?
I don't know. I can't remember. There's been so much action.
Yeah, there has been so much action. But J. Cole is looking very feisty on the back of Waitsy. J. Cole is going to get passed up to 6th. There he goes. Decent race for him so far. Gap now 3.7 between Lukey and Tony. Oh, I don't think it's going to be enough unless Tony makes a mistake. Let us know in the chat who do you think's got the win here. Oh, Lukey almost had a moment.
I just caught the end of that right there. And another gap to keep our eye on as well is Papa Squanch and J. Cole, because we're seeing Papa Squanch on those tyres. He is sliding through
Did Papa Squanch get past J. Cole again then? He must have.
I think J. Cole got caught up in the turn 1 stuff with Samster.
Ah, right, okay. Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah, it was J. Cole that got past Waity. Never mind.
Well, that gap is closing between Papa Squanch and J. Cole, so we could be seeing J. Cole looking at a potential P5 at the end of this race.
Yeah, we could. I think J. Cole could be for a good shot for 5th. He's been, I would say he's been the best of the rest this season. He has just avoided trouble, and he's always been in the top 5. I think most races so far this season. Let me just have a little bit of a nose and look at the standings to see if that's the case. Simgrid is having a bit of a hissy fit right now, so it's not telling me that. So I will have a look at it later just before the end.
15th and...
Nick's past Luke. Nick's up to 2nd.
Yeah, so 15th in round 2, round 1. 6th round 2, and then the win last week.
Yeah, so he's been, Mr. Consistent J. Cole. I don't think he was expecting this due to the fact that it's another high caliber tier. So we will see. And we're not going to get a safety car, I don't think. It'll be too late for a safety car. Ben, by the way, and Callum and Larkin are on soft. We'll see how far they can climb through the order. Ben's already on the back of Waitsy.
It could also be looking at a top 5 finish. He's 3 on the softs.
Yeah, that could be very good. I don't know who to pick for driver of the day here, Mike. I've still got quite a few contenders here. So, gonna be exciting. Make sure you stay tuned until the end. Don't you dare tune out, because this is a very great race so far, and I think the crowds are loving this as well. Gap now 5 seconds between Tony and Nick. Yeah, Tony's got this one.
Yeah, I feel like the only way Nick and Lukey are going to be able to catch up to Tony is if
Tony makes a mistake, which is not going to happen around this track because it's Tony's favourite track.
Yeah, a mistake or those tyres just completely disintegrate, which I don't think will happen. But Lukey back through on Nick, back into P2 goes Lukey. And now we got the big battle between J. Cole, Papa Squanch, Waitsy, Ben JS, and Callum.
Oh, here comes Ben! Ben to the inside of... Oh no, Waitsy to the inside of Papa Squanch, sorry. So Waity's up to 6. Ben! Nicely done from Ben there. I think Papa has to sell for 9th or 10th here. Larkin's going to be in this as well. And don't forget those softs will die in the next lap also. So they got to get the moves done ASAP coming through turn 4. Oh, that was almost a Perez and Sainz moment. Bloody hell. As Larkin and Colin make their way through. As Colin trying to send it up the inside of Casper. No, Casper sending up the inside of Colin. My bad. A big DRS train forming. They want to score as many points as they can for the final few moments of this race. And I think the ones who are in the top 3 deserve it at slot as well. Again, another race where he's robbed of a podium. When is he going to get a podium? He got one last week, but that was due to penalties, I think.
Yeah, Axlock, he's definitely on the cusp of being up there consistently on the podiums. He's always just there or thereabouts. One thing I'm interested in, this final lap of the race is going to be absolutely massive with the DRS trains.
Especially with the midfield. The top 3, I would say, is decided. It may be a different order between second and third, but the top 3, decided. So let's not worry about them. I'm sorry if you're the top 3 watching this back, but let's not worry about them. The fight we want to see is between 5th downwards. Ben versus Jayco into turn 3. Stops the car in time. There he goes. Ben up into 5th place. One job done for Ben. I wonder if Race is going to follow Jayco through. Nope, he is not. Callum, I think if it wasn't a safety car for Callum, he would have been up there. And he tries to stick it up the inside in towards turn 6, but doesn't quite do it. You can see the lovely sky buildings going through the castle section almost towards turn 7, which is very tasty indeed. Gaps come down to 4.7 between Tony and Lukey, but I don't think it's going to be enough unless Lukey makes a mistake. Tony makes a mistake, sorry. So let's watch Tony. Got pole. Very incredible lap from Tony. Got the sprint race win. Started the race from 10th. We thought he had some issues earlier on, but that safety car's helped him. You do not give up in league racing because safety cars can help you. Those tyres have really helped Tony here. Tony wins in Baku. Oh, final lap. Sorry. Final lap. Sorry about that. Oh, my God. It's not the first time I've done that.
Oh, there is. We're now on the final lap. 4.7 the gap between Lukey and Tony. I think by the end of this lap, I think the gap will come down to around about 3 seconds, but not enough for Lukey or Nick to really do anything.
No.
It's going to be about who's going to cross the line in second between Lukey and Nick. And obviously we got this battle for 5th as J. Cole is still in the back of NJS. And you're going to see the soft tyres now begin to fall away as well. So it's going to come back to the hard runners. And we're going to see an extremely exciting end to this race as we got Larkin and Colin battling out side by side. And Colin is just about...
Oh!
Yep, Colin staying ahead there. Good move there from Colin. I think those mediums coming in clutch for Colin at the end of this race. But he'll be looking back at this and thinking, I hate the safety car.
I'm joining the Discord later on, and he's probably going to say to me, "I hate safety cars." If he says the first thing, if he says it's the first thing he says, then I won't be surprised.
Here we go for the final time in this race. Tony about to come on to the start-finish straight for the last time here in Baku.
Tony has driven a faultless race. He got pole. He got the sprint race win. We thought there was trouble earlier on in the race, but he delivered. Tony wins in Baku by 3.2 seconds. He was one of the favourites going to this. I predicted he was going to win, and he did.
Oh, drag race to the line. J. Cole. Oh, he just about does it. J. Cole crossed the line in P5.
Wow. So J. Cole just got a P5 there, but your podium, Tony wins from Lukey in second and Nick in third. Who would have thought we saw that podium, huh? Well, that's a sprint reverse for you. Incredible. Can we have Baku more often, please? I enjoyed that, but we got to pick our driver of the day soon, and I don't even know who to pick.
I mean, I think we can both agree that there is a very good meme of what can be described for this race by you. Well done, Baku.
It's either really bad or really good, and this is very good. Yes, well done, Baku. So we'll go.
I mean, I have. Go on.
Carry on.
I was going to say I have my driver of the day.
You have your driver of the day. Who is it, and what would you like to ask him?
My driver of the day is Tony, and obviously my question for him, after a fantastic performance in qualifying in the sprint race, it seemed in the start of the race you got off to a bit of a slow start. Did you expect, after you had to make an early pit stop for damage, to be able to come back to take victory?
I think that's a very good answer. I think I'm going to have to give my driver of the day, I think for the whole weekend, as we scroll through the order, by the way, I'm going to give it to Lukey, because the main reason why I'm giving it to Lukey, because he started 8th and he finished 2nd. He got, I think, 3rd in the sprint as well. So he scored some decent points this weekend. So my question is, you just missed out on the podium last week. How does it feel to finally get that podium this week after trying so hard last week? So that is my question, and those are your results, because we do not have time to do the rest of it, unfortunately. But we'll go through the... Actually, we will have time. That's not finished. No, we don't. No, we don't. Wow, what a race. And we've got another great race coming up next week. We've got one of the longest race of the F1 calendar coming up. We've got the Singapore Grand Prix. I am very excited for that one, but I'm guaranteed it might rain around this. We're going to be there for a very long night, I think, next week.
I mean, Singapore has always been a favourite of mine to commentate over, so I'm hoping for another exciting race in Singapore coming up.
Yeah, Singapore's going to be good. I always like commentating Singapore, but we're going to probably need not a lot of drinks there as well. I've done quite well in Singapore in the past as well. So, we are about to head off, but for final check of our sponsors. Next Level Racing, Pure Sim Gear are our sponsors, our partners, Best Patina and SimGrid, and also Mental Health Foundation. It is good to talk. So, we are about to head off then. Thank you for watching. Thanks to Mike for joining me once again. It's been a pleasure. We will see you same time next week for the Singapore Grand Prix. You can also check P1 stream, P2 stream, which happened before this, and they'll be streaming live next week at the Singapore Grand Prix at 5 PM UK time with Nick and Colin in the commentary box. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Have a good evening, and goodbye.